All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we're diving headfirst into the wild world of telecom.
Yeah, we're gonna need a strong signal for this one.
That's right. We're using Verizon's recent Q3 2024 earnings call and their broadband update, kind of as our jumping off point.
Exactly, using that to explore the future of connectivity as a whole.
And the cool thing about this deep dive, even if you're not like a total telecom nerd,
Yeah.
you'll get to see how a giant company like Verizon thinks about the future of how we all connect, how we work, and how we chill.
It's true, and it's more than just numbers. You
That's
know,
not sure.
it's about strategy and how we get from point A to point B in the digital world.
Exactly. So we're talking fiber optics, 5G, even a little bit of AI and satellite internet.
The whole shebang.
Oh, and remember how everyone's been holding onto their phones for longer?
Yeah, like those upgrade cycles keep getting longer and longer.
Well, we're going to unravel that mystery too.
I'm ready.
All right, so let's kick things off with Verizon's big broadband push.
Okay.
They're aiming to reach 100 million households with a mix of fiber and fixed wireless access.
Ambitious.
It's like a two-pronged attack on the connectivity front.
Yeah, think of it this way. They want to double their fixed wireless access subscriber base to like 8 or 9 million by 2028.
So in like 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years. And at the same time, they're going all in on expanding their fiber optic network, FiOS, to reach like 35 to 40 million homes.
It's like they're building these digital superhighways of the future, right?
Yeah, totally.
But here's where things get interesting.
Yeah,
They're doing it with a mobility-first approach.
right, which is a huge clue into how Verizon sees the future of connectivity.
Okay,
Mobile is at the center, and then fixed access kind of comes in as a bonus.
I see.
So they're prioritizing those 5G and mobile network improvements first.
Makes their fixed wireless access a natural extension of what they're already building.
Exactly, it's efficient.
It's like they're building one superhighway that can handle everything.
Right, smartphones, laptops, maybe even those delivery robots.
Love it. So that brings us to the financial side of things.
Yeah. Okay.
Verizon had a pretty strong Q3,
They did.
including their highest ever EBITDA, which was $12.5 billion.
12.5 billion, that's with a B.
With a B, that's a lot of cheddar.
Yeah. For those not familiar with EBITDA,
Yeah.
it basically shows us how profitable they are.
Okay.
And they're looking good. They're on track to meet their financial goals for the year.
Nice.
And they might even exceed expectations for their wireless revenue and EBITDA.
Healthy signs all around,
For sure.
especially for a company making big moves like this broadband expansion.
Right. And they're not just sitting on that cash.
No, they're not.
Capital expenditures for 2025 are projected to be between $17.5 and $18.5 billion.
That's a lot of investment.
It is a big chunk of that. It's going to fuel the continued rollout of C-band spectrum for 5G,
Okay.
expanding that FiOS network we talked about, and developing a new solution for multi-dwelling units.
So like apartments and condos.
Exactly. Where getting high-speed internet to each unit can be a bit of a headache.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
Right, so they're aiming to bring gigabit speeds to those MDU dwellers.
No more buffering, even if your neighbor's downloading the entire internet.
Exactly.
I like it. So this all ties back to Verizon's belief in these two engines of growth, mobility and broadband. They see both of those areas having positive trends in the future,
Right, and it's not just about investing in growth. They're also committed to their dividend.
which they just increased for the 18th year in a row.
18 years, that's impressive.
It shows commitment to their shareholders,
Definitely. And they're keeping a strong balance sheet.
making sure they're financially
And
stable.
exactly. And they might even buy back some shares later on.
Smart moves, especially when you're making big plays like this broadband expansion.
Agreed, but let's shift gears for a second
Okay.
and talk about how all of this impacts the actual customer.
You, the listener.
Right. Verizon is really emphasizing choice and transparency in their pricing.
Which is always a good thing.
It is their My Plan and My Home offerings are all about customization. So you pick your base plan and then you add on perks.
I like that.
Things like streaming services or cloud storage.
Oh, like building your own telecom pizza with all the toppings.
Exactly. And for folks who love a good loyalty program,
Yeah.
they've got Verizon Access or My Access, which offers special deals and experiences just for being a loyal customer.
Nice. But what really caught my eye is this demand-led convergence model.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Instead of forcing bundles on people, they're letting customers choose what they actually value.
Right. No more strong-arming you into bundles you don't need.
I like the sound of that, but does
Okay.
it actually work for Verizon?
Well, they claim some pretty compelling benefits.
Okay, like what?
They say mobile churn.
So that's the rate at which customers say, see ya later.
Yeah, exactly. That churn drops by 50% when you bundle mobile with fiber.
Wow, 50%?
That's huge. And in markets where they have fiber,
Yeah.
their wireless market share jumps by a significant 5 percentage points.
So happy customers who stick around and spend more.
That's the idea, a win-win for everyone.
I like it, but Verizon isn't stopping at fiber and 5G.
No, they're not.
They're dipping their toes into some really cutting-edge tech,
Yeah.
like AI network slicing and even satellite connectivity.
The future is now.
It is. So the AI
Mhm.
piece is still early days, right?
Yeah, it's early, but they see potential for revenue
Okay.
by offering AI infrastructure to businesses.
So kind of becoming like the digital landlord for the AI revolution.
Right, exactly. And they're also exploring AI to personalize the customer experience.
Makes sense. AI is
Yeah.
everywhere these days.
It is.
Now, network slicing, that sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It kind of is. Imagine the network divided into these virtual slices,
Oh.
each one customized for different needs.
Interesting.
So like a slice for gamers with super low latency,
Yeah.
or one for autonomous vehicles where reliability is key.
A network that can multitask like a pro.
Exactly.
And what about satellite connectivity?
Well, that's more about expanding coverage to those remote areas and offering specialized services, especially for businesses.
So imagine having a Zoom call or checking your email from the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. The possibilities are endless.
It's true, the future is now.
Yeah.
But no business strategy is without its challenges, right?
Absolutely. Investors have raised some questions
Like what?
about the pace of fixed wireless access subscriber growth,
Yeah.
especially as they move from those dense urban areas to more spread out suburban and rural deployments.
I can see that it's much easier to blanket a city with coverage than to reach every farmhouse.
Right. And there are concerns about free cash flow.
Okay.
With those increased capital expenditures, we talked about taxes and the upcoming Frontier acquisition.
Frontier that's been making headlines. There's talk of Verizon potentially upping their bid.
Right. It's been a hot topic.
So what's the latest?
Well, Verizon's sticking to their guns.
Huh?
They're saying the acquisition process was competitive and they're confident in the price they agreed on.
Makes sense. They see Frontier as a key part of reaching those 100 million households.
Mm.
It's all connected.
It is.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. Everything from 5G and fiber to AI and satellites, even a little bit of corporate drama.
It's been a wild ride.
It has. Before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to hear what stood out to you, what surprised you, what questions are bubbling up.
I'm sure our listeners have a lot to say.
We'll tackle those in part 2, so stay tuned.
You know what really struck me? It's Verizon's approach to this whole convergence thing.
Yeah.
They're not forcing it on people. They're letting demand kind of lead the way.
That demand-led convergence model really caught my attention too.
Yeah.
It feels so much more customer-friendly than what we've seen in the past. You know?
Right, like they're not trying to cram bundles down your throat.
Exactly, and the numbers seem to back it up.
Yeah.
A 50% reduction in churn when mobile's bundled with fiber.
It's huge.
That's massive.
Mm-hmm.
It tells me people are actually finding value in having both services from one provider.
Yeah, it makes sense when you think about it. One bill, one customer service contact. It's a streamlined experience.
Right, and then you throw in those perks and the loyalty program.
Yeah.
It starts to feel like a whole ecosystem.
Almost like their own little digital walled garden.
Ooh, that's an interesting way to put it.
Right.
It makes you wonder, what does this push for broadband dominance from a company like Verizon?
Yeah.
What does that mean for the rest of the industry?
Right. Or we're going to see more consolidation, more competition.
It's a good question.
It's hard to say for sure, but it definitely raises some important questions about the future of the telecom landscape.
And what about the impact on us, the consumers?
Yeah. How will this race to connect everyone and everything change how we work, how we entertain ourselves, even how we interact with our homes and cities?
It's a big question,
It is.
and probably one we can't fully answer today.
Right.
But it's definitely something worth thinking about as these technologies become even more integrated into our lives.
It is. Speaking of evolving technologies, let's dig a little deeper into some of those innovations Verizon's exploring.
Okay.
We touched on AI earlier.
We did.
It has the potential to be a real game changer.
You mentioned they're thinking about offering AI infrastructure to businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine Verizon becoming the go-to provider for companies that want to use the power of AI,
Yeah, they could be a major player in the AI revolution.
not just as a user of AI, but as a provider of the underlying technology.
Exactly. And let's not forget about how AI could change the customer experience.
Yeah, more personalized recommendations, more proactive customer support.
Maybe even AI-powered virtual assistants that can help us troubleshoot technical issues.
The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing.
They really are. Now, you mentioned network slicing earlier.
I did.
I know you're intrigued by that.
I was. It sounds like science fiction.
Yeah,
But the more I think about it, the more it makes sense.
it does.
To be able to customize the network for different types of users and applications.
Exactly. Think of it like dedicated lanes on a highway. You've got the fast lane for people who need speed and agility, like gamers or financial traders.
And then the slow but steady lane for things like autonomous vehicles.
Right, where reliability and low latency are crucial.
Precisely, network slicing could unlock a whole new level of performance and efficiency.
And pave the way for even more innovative applications.
And then there's satellite connectivity,
Yeah,
which could be huge for people in remote areas.
absolutely. Imagine being able to work remotely from a mountaintop.
Or stream your favorite shows while sailing across the ocean.
Satellite connectivity could break down geographical barriers and create a truly interconnected world.
It's exciting to think about.
It is.
But these innovations also come with their own set of challenges and questions.
Of course.
How will these technologies be regulated? Will they be accessible to everyone?
And what about the potential risks?
Right, it's a double-edged sword.
It is.
We need to be aware of the potential downsides of increased connectivity.
Yeah, things like data privacy, cybersecurity, the digital divide.
They all become even more critical as we become more reliant on technology.
It's a balancing act for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
We need to embrace the opportunities,
Yeah.
but also be mindful of the potential pitfalls.
And it's a conversation that we as a society need to have.
Right? What kind of future do we want to build? How do we make sure these technologies benefit everyone?
Well said. And I think that's a perfect segue into our next topic.
Okay.
We've talked about how Verizon is trying to shape the future of connectivity.
We have.
But what about their current offerings?
Yeah, let's zoom in on that customer offering framework
Uh-huh.
and those customizable My Plan and My Home options,
Let's explore how those are designed to meet the needs of today's consumers.
and how Verizon is trying to create a truly customer-centric experience.
Absolutely. But before we dive in,
Yeah.
I want to hear from you.
Our listeners,
What are your thoughts on these innovations?
what questions or concerns do you have? Share your aha moments with us.
We're all in this together.
All right, so we've talked about Verizon's big vision for the future, all that cutting-edge stuff.
Right, the future of connectivity.
Exactly. But what about their offerings right now? What's it actually like to be a Verizon customer today?
Well, that's where their customer offering framework comes in.
Yeah.
It's all about choice and transparency.
Which, let's be honest, are always welcome in the telecom world.
Absolutely nobody wants to feel trapped in a plan that doesn't work for them.
Exactly. So how does this framework actually play out in their offerings?
That's where those My Plan and My Home options come in.
Yeah,
It's all about customization.
I like that.
You start with a base plan, and then you can add on perks that make sense for you.
Okay, so things like extra data.
Yeah, streaming services, cloud storage, even things like tech support or identity theft protection.
So like building your own personal telecom package.
Yeah, kind of like a digital buffet where you pick and choose what you want.
I like that analogy, but does it actually work? Do people really want all this customization?
Well, based on the numbers Verizon shared, it seems like people are responding pretty well.
Okay.
They're projecting to double their perk subscriptions to 14 million by next year.
Wow, 14 million, that's a lot of perks.
It is, and it shows that people are finding value in these add-ons.
I can see the appeal, especially if those perks are things people really want and use.
Exactly. It's like getting free stuff just for being a Verizon customer.
Right, and that's a smart strategy.
It is. These perks aren't just random add-ons.
Oh.
They're carefully chosen to appeal to different types of customers.
So they've done their homework.
They have. Verizon has done a lot of research to figure out what their customers want, and they're using that data to create perk packages that are likely to be a hit.
So it's not just about throwing a bunch of random stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
No, it's about being strategic and offering real value that aligns with customer needs.
And it's not just about perks either, right?
Right. They're also focused on making the overall customer experience better. Investing in their digital tools, improving their customer service, streamlining their billing.
So it's a more holistic approach?
Exactly. They want to make it easier and more enjoyable to be a Verizon customer.
From signing up to managing your account to dealing with customer support.
Exactly, every step of the way.
And this all ties back to their demand-led convergence model.
Right. They're betting that by making the customer experience more attractive and convenient,
Yeah.
people will naturally want to bundle more services.
It's subtle, but I can see how it would be effective.
Yeah, instead of forcing bundles, they're creating an environment where customers see the benefits of staying within the Verizon ecosystem.
But does this mean they're trying to lock people in? Is it all a bit too good to be true?
That's a fair question, and it's something consumers should definitely be aware of. There's
Yeah.
always a balance between convenience and control.
Right. The more you rely on one company for all your digital needs, the less flexibility you have to switch if you're not happy.
Exactly. It's like the classic trade-off.
Do you want everything in one place? Or do you want the freedom to pick and choose different providers?
Exactly, and there's no right answer.
It depends on the individual and what they value most.
Right, but it's important to be aware of the potential downsides of putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Agreed. It's always a good idea to do your research, compare different options.
Absolutely. Make an informed decision based on your own needs and circumstances.
And it's not just about the present either.
Right.
The telecom landscape is constantly changing.
New technologies are emerging, competition is heating up, consumer behavior is shifting.
It's a dynamic and exciting space to watch.
It really is.
And that's what makes these deep dives so fascinating.
We get to explore these trends.
Exactly. We've gone from Verizon's vision for the future to their current offerings and customer-centric approach.
We even talked about the pros and cons of convergence and bundling.
It's been quite a journey through the world of telecom.
It has. But hopefully you've come away with a better understanding of this industry and how it impacts you.
As a consumer,
That's exactly.
I've learned a lot.
Me too.
And I hope our listeners have too. But as always, this is just the start of the conversation.
Right.
We encourage you to check out the show notes for links to more information.
So you can keep exploring these topics on your own.
Keep those questions coming. Stay curious and never stop learning.
Because in the world of technology, the only constant is change.
That's all for this episode of The Deep Dive. Until next time, stay connected.